What's up, everyone? It's finally June, and Orange County is finally back on the winning ways after a victory 3-2 over Detroit City this past weekend. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the upcoming match. We're going to talk to a player. If you don't know yet, you'll find out later who that is. Let's get this thing started. Welcome to the Podcast of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. Helping me out for this episode, well, let's go through the lineup. We got Dylan, and hey, Dylan's right here with me for this episode. How's it going, Dylan?
It's going. I've unfortunately been stuck with this one all weekend long, so I will take your thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Do that for him. Yeah, we're hanging out together up here in Lake Tahoe. We're right now currently on the Nevada side of things, but we've been going back and forth between Nevada and California. Someone that's familiar with the state of Nevada and this area in general too, Mr. Brad. Brad, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Welcome to my former backyard and the better side of Lake Tahoe, if you ask me. It's the better views, and you know, if you're on the California side and you're looking towards the Nevada side, it's also the better views because the Nevada side is just better.
Share with us. What do you think, folks? Is the Nevada side better or the California side? Let us know in the comments. We got one other person helping us out for this episode, and that is the bearded one himself. That's Mr. Larry. Larry, how are you feeling, my man?
We won a game. Woohoo! I feel fantastic. No tactics, all vibes.
I feel like we were saying this. Remember, I believe last episode, hey, we're done with May. Let's just forget about May. Let's get into June. They can turn things around. And they did just that against Detroit City. Although they didn't make it as calm as we probably would have liked. They made it a little bit of a nervous wreck for some of us watching the match. But Orange County came out victorious 3-2 in the first match in the month of June. Hey, playing for pride's going for our fantasy football or fantasy soccer games going on. And I think there was a lot of people that did great on that. Let's talk about this match this past weekend at home against Detroit City. What a great match. Some great performances. I think I'm not the only person that was watching this match and saying, so-and-so is having their best match of the season. So-and-so is playing their best match of the season. There were multiple players that were doing that. One of those that I felt was a standout. I'm going to go into this first, and then I'll ask these others what they thought. But one of the big standouts for me, even though maybe statistically not a goal in the back of the net, but Ethan Zubak looked pretty darn good out there. Missed a couple shots he probably should have made. But again, his best match probably in a Orange and Black Soccer Cast or Orange and Black Soccer Cast. Orange County Soccer Club kit. Dylan, what were your thoughts watching this match against Detroit, and how do you think Orange County fared? Did they deserve that result?
I'm a little bit less happy, I think, with the performance overall, but happier with the result that ended up being. I would never have predicted that if we had conceded 2, that we would have come back with 3 to actually win the game. And we can probably harp on that penalty a little bit later. I think players that needed to step up here stepped up, and I think players that have been missing for a while did well to come in. Foxy did well, I think, despite missing such a long period before this. It's good to see Seth Casiple back out there as well, and just I think some of that experience kind of calmed things down, because I think that's been lacking in some of the last couple weeks when things have not gone our way.
Yeah, definitely. Brad, let me go to you. Talk about your thoughts on how the performance was for Orange County this match. And we saw the debut of the signing that I think they announced like the day before the match. Mr. Flood, the Flood arrived here in Orange County. Maybe not the greatest start. There was a few times where I think some of those kicks looked like he thought he was underwater when he was kicking the ball. Thus, they were very powerful and very high. But other than that, I think he was a better option than what we've had back there with Ryan Dogman missing, correct? And again, what are your thoughts of the match?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off by just tackling that question. If you say another water-related pun, even if it's not on purpose, I might actually cry and open up my own floodgates. Um, yeah, I
As you
mean,
just
Ryan
did
Flood.
it yourself. Oh my gosh, Brad.
Ryan Flood, that was on purpose. Ryan Flood came in and he looked like a player who was playing in his natural position, albeit with a team that he's not gelling with yet. And that's probably just he probably came to town a day or two before uh you know, actually playing or being announced. And other than that, this team finally started to see what creativity could look like. Among with a long ball goal that you can see on the screen is probably the only time I thought during the game this is just us getting lucky with something that we're creating, because in reality we've suffered with the long ball. We've lived and died by it. And that game we lived with it. But I want to talk a lot about this second goal that we're about to see and the creativity, here where you get a cross and then you get Cameron Dunbar with the perfect dummy, just letting the ball go through his legs and taking out two defenders basically who have to cover him because they think he's going to make a play on the ball. Before Kyle Scott gets the ball at the top, and he just creates a perfect opportunity. But you see Cameron Dunbar dummies it, Brian Olowski lets it go by him too, and then Kyle Scott just buries it. Now, this is the kind of creativity we have missed all season long. And I don't know if this was the team prepared very well, things are gelling again, or they're starting to figure out, how to play as a team and create these opportunities. But this game, they did a whole lot better in generating shots on target, 7, I believe it was, off of 15 shots. And Orange County was the better team in this game.
Uh, I want to say part of maybe this sort of confidence from Orange County is just having players in natural positions and players with experience, right? Nothing against Asher Miles. He's been a great part of this team all year, but we all know he's young. He's inexperienced. He's getting his first taste of being a key contributor team. I love him as a player, but being able to insert someone like an Andrew Fox in that position in place of Miles because he has to sit for the match, Fox stepped in, and him and Knockham in the back were very, very comfortable together, and they were very solid defensively, other than conceding a questionable PK that they were pretty decent most of the match. Larry, your thoughts on this match all in all, and I want you to be the person that goes on first saying, letting us know which goal for Orange County you were most impressed with.
First, I want to say I agree about Ethan Zubak playing his best game of the year. I said it several times. I said it to Carrie and Grayson at halftime that Ethan looks as good, if not better, than he has looked this entire season. He was energetic. He was all over the place. He was getting some nice, couple of nice headers. I really, I thought he was going to get a goal there just because of the way he was playing overall on Saturday night. What was the question, Ray? Oh, the best goal.
What goal were you most impressed with? I'm not asking you for the best one. What were you most impressed with?
Most impressed with. You know what? I really liked the Kyle Scott goal and everything that was set up in between it. Couldn't see it fully from my angle, but hey, wait, look, I'm going to show up on screen right now. Wait, there I am. But yeah, just Cameron stepping over that ball, and you could see Brian was coming in to maybe take control, and Kyle had to have said something to get him to pull off, and he just put a really nice ball, slotting it down there in the bottom corner. It was fun to watch. It was nice to see Kyle get his first goal as an Orange County Soccer Club player. He had a big smile on his face, and if you are watching Alfie Sanders, I'm going to give you a shout out right now. If any of y'all watch the videos that I do before the game, there's a couple young guys who sit there by the tunnel, Alfie and William, and I always ask them, hey, give me a score prediction. Tell me who's going to score. And Alfie said, Kyle's going to score tonight. And I kind of looked at him like, it's not really Kyle's thing, but Kyle ended up scoring. So great job, Alfie, if you're out there watching.
Hey, I was super stoked for Kyle scoring that goal because he's one of the players I picked on my fantasy team. So he was a very good contributor to my score stats on that, and we'll share the updates on how that's going in just a moment. But I want to ask you, all of you, this, and I'll start off with you, Dylan. On that first goal with Thomas Among, I think we were watching this together, and I made a comment of, see, this is what happens when Thomas doesn't go down so easily in those types of moments. When he stays strong, he is able to get a foot on the ball, make it sort of bounce weird, and get in the back of the net, right? So we see now maybe this will get Thomas thinking about not going down so easily. Is that a hope maybe we'd like to see out of him going forward?
I mean, maybe we want to see it out of him, but given the last 2 weeks and the dubious penalties that are being awarded left and right at Championship Soccer Stadium, you just go down. If you're within 5 yards of the box, it's probably a pen. And hey, it might just be a red card for the other team too, because the rules are all made up. It's the USL. It's whose line is it anyway?
You can tell Dylan is still steaming about some of those questionable calls from the refs over the last few matches. Let me ask you, Brad. Watching Thomas on that first goal, is it a sight that is it something that excites you to see that he didn't go down so easily, didn't try to draw a penalty there, and actually used his strength, which we've all seen? He's a pretty strong dude. He's not tall, but he's strong and he's sturdy. Did you like seeing him not go down so easily and get that ball in the back of the net using his strength?
I mean, that's kind of what you want your striker to do. You want your striker to do 2 things. You want him to have good hold-up play, and you want him to score goals. And I think he did the second one very well on that, and he did the second one very well on the Bryce Jamison goal. Player of the game easily for me. I'm happy he didn't go down, obviously, because let's be honest, we've seen so many strikers in Orange County go down in that exact same spot of the last couple of years, Among included, and I don't think he would have gotten the call. So very, very, very satisfied with his performance this past week.
I'm going to go to you, Larry, on this next question. You could share your thoughts on Tomas on there, but I also want to ask, what did we think of the officiating this week compared to maybe last week? I know Dylan and I mentioned a little bit about a questionable call, a penalty call. Looked like it was outside of the box. Looks like it was very limited contact there. What were your overall thoughts on the reffing in this match?
I'm a sports official. It's hard for me to.
That's the reason I asked you specifically.
I know, and it's hard for me to badmouth refereeing, only because only soccer refereeing I ever did was my son's 8U AYSO games, so I don't know a lot about it. It seemed to me like it was better than the previous weeks. The previous weeks, we can all admit that was poor. There were some really questionable calls, especially Ashton's red card, which I talked to Ashton about that up in the stands at halftime. It just, was it a penalty down there? I don't know. It was borderline. It's hard to say. As to Tomas, that man looks like he could literally pick me up over his head without breaking a sweat, and I'm kind of a big dude. So seeing him stay up and stay strong, that was really good to watch. It was a nice goal that he scored, and just all around great game. And I agree. I think he was the player of the game for me as well.
And I hear you talk about the player of the match, but I think the official player of the match ended up being Bryce Jamison. I think well deserved for him. I know he's been struggling slightly with some of his shots over the past few matches. He was able to get some nice solid contact on the ball and actually kick it away from where the goalkeeper was standing, which was good to see out of him. And he continues to be a very bright spot on this team as far as working hard and not letting frustration get to him too much. It seems like whatever he's doing, even if he's, struggling to get the goal in there, he's not showing that frustration on the pitch. He's getting the ball. He's doing his thing. He's working hard, which is awesome to see. So props to him as well for such a great performance in this match. Dylan, any final thoughts on the match against Detroit City?
I'm glad we got 3 points, and hopefully it's a place to build for as we kind of head into June. It's a good kind of bookmark and a place to start.
Brad, what about you?
One more time the question.
Just any final overall thoughts on this match?
I mean, it's a win. We want those, and hopefully June is going to be a lot better than the May was.
And then hand it off to you, Mr. Larry. Your final thoughts on this match.
It was. I unfortunately hadn't had a chance yet to get to watch the replay on ESPN Plus. But on the sidelines, there were some moments where I was just my. Oh God, what is happening here? We've given up a goal already, and now we're down. But the team really, really fought, and they played strong, and they played well. And there's some players like Zubak who really stepped up and showed really what this team and what some of these individuals are made of by going out and getting that 3 points against a Detroit team that's a very good soccer team. Make no mistake about it; they're a good soccer team. Um, there were moments of shaking my head, but at the end of the day, 3 points, no points in May, all of the points in June so far.
And again, that's what we were trying to talk about last week is the frustration of May. Let's just get past it. Let's get to June and see if this team can turn things around. They've done it in the first match of June. Can they continue that? That'll be the big question. And in order to do that, they will need to face some tough competition on the road. Before we get to that part of it, though, I do want to pass the baton over to Brad really quick to just sort of share how things are going with our competition that we run in the month of June. Share what you got, Brad.
Yeah, if producer Andy will put the slide on, there it is. Thank you, producer Andy. So we had a record 31 signups pre the game. That's almost triple our previous high of like 13 or something like that. We had a 32nd person sign up earlier today. So you're looking at the score sheet here. We have a solo person up in first place, and that is Mr. OCSC Soccer Dad, Mr. Russell himself. And then you look down the list, you have a three-way tie for second. I'm in third with three other people. And then the next member of our Orange and Black Soccer Cast is Larry in fourth with 15 points. Take a look at the screen. Biggest performer of the weekend obviously was Thomas Among with 9 points. Ethan Zubak, I think, was second with 6. And the fan favorite of Colin Shuttler, who was on 23 out of 31 rosters, scored 1 point. That's kind of the risk you take when you take a goalie in this game. You either earn a lot of points if they get a shutout, 5 points for a clean sheet is massive, or if they give up a couple goals and don't make the saves to recuperate the points, you're looking at an expensive player who doesn't return as much. Shuttler will have his good games this month, I'm sure. He'll get a clean sheet here and there. So you'll see those points come back. But unfortunately, this first week, if you had Shuttler, you're probably on the lower end of the board.
Thank you for that, Brad. And I was stoked. I don't know about the rest of y'all, Dylan, Larry, Brad, and even producer Andy, and then anyone else watching. I don't know how excited you were about the performance of the players you picked. I was pretty satisfied with what we had. I was excited when I saw the release of the starting lineup for the match, and I saw I had 3 starters. Anyone that has played this game knows that a starter is a pretty good start to your points for this competition. You get 3 points for any player that starts. So I had 3 of those. That was 9 automatic points. Now I did lose a point here or there, maybe because of a yellow card for some players, but that's what happens. But great observation from you, Brad, on picking up a goalie. That's the high risk, high reward type pick on this, because we've seen it in the past. I believe I ran the table one year because I picked a goalie that was on a run in the month of June, and I pretty much destroyed everyone because of points off of that with clean sheets. And then you think about it, you get a clean sheet, you probably had some good saves. So that'll happen there. So first and foremost, or I guess not first and foremost because I already started talking, but thank you to everyone who is participating and who is, basically promising to donate to this great cause at the end of the month after you find out how your team has done and the points you've achieved. We appreciate that because this is something that's meant a lot to going back to when it was just Dylan and myself doing something like this, being on a camera together, talking with y'all. We did that a few times back in the days, and this was a big part of our start as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, if we continue this way, if people donate 1-to-1 like we are pledging to do ourselves, that's 396 points for 1 week on the screen there. That's a pretty good week across the entire team, and not every week is going to be so high scoring. However, you got to hope that the team really goes through and makes us really have to pay for their good performance this month, because it's going to a good place.
If we want to talk about the actual math of Athlete for Ally, is the kind of organization that puts on Playing for Pride every single year. This year, Athlete Ally is only looking for 25 grand. And we would have been 1.5% of that, just the people this week. So it's not a promise. We appreciate it if you do donate it, because obviously every dollar counts when it is only $25,000, because last year was $100,000. And, ultimately they're able to do a lot of good with this money. And I think we might be at a place in our society where we could stand to do some good. And if we get to have fun at the same time, there's no better way to do it.
Awesome. So again, thank you for everyone that's participating in this. Keep watching and keep hoping that your players do well and rack up those points, get the victory. Again, some prizes available to some of the winners. If I win, I will, pass down my prize to whoever is behind me in the standings, just for that. Hopefully, Orange County can continue to be strong. They're going to be facing a tough opponent on the road to continue this or to build on this momentum from the victory against Detroit. And that's on the road against a foe that a lot of us aren't big fans of, just because of the matchups over the past years. And that's against a Phoenix Rising team in Phoenix. Or where do they play? Do they play in Phoenix?
I believe they're actually in Phoenix proper now. Yeah.
All right.
Congratulations.
So going to Phoenix, playing Phoenix Rising, a tough matchup. I have no idea how Phoenix is doing this season. I have no idea where they are in the standings. Maybe one of y'all can be smarter and share with me on what's going on with Phoenix. Where are they in the standings? Does anyone know?
Well, I sure.
Sixth place, couple points behind us.
Yeah, they have 4 wins, 4 draws, and 6 losses, and even 0 goal difference, 14-4, 14 against. Their Open Cup went great. They lost 2-1 to Seattle, which is actually more impressive than what we managed to do. But for once, we're not playing them in August, which means only one thing, and that means it's not monsoon season. So anything could truly happen in this, because it will not be 110 degrees and 60% humidity. Also, they don't seem to be all that great. And maybe Ryan Flood wants to leave a little bit of a, hey, maybe you guys could have played me more than 100 minutes this season so far.
That'd be pretty cool. And I guess perfect timing to bring someone like Ryan Flood in. I don't know if he's the type of person that would be willing to give a little bit of a scouting report to the new team that he's playing for. I don't even know, if that's even something that's should be done or can be done. I don't know how that works behind the locker room stuff, or in the locker room stuff. But who knows what this does? The cool thing is looking at the opponent, right? Yes, it's on the road in Phoenix, but I think what we're learning is it's not a scary match, or as scary as it could be in past seasons. And did we mention, this bad May, we're in June, we get a win on the first match of June, and we're still top 4 in the West. That just seems ridiculous to say. Brad, your thoughts on this match on the road in Phoenix? Can Orange County build off the momentum from Detroit, and do you see them coming away with 3 points in this match?
Yeah, I think if the team continues to play like they did this past week, I mean, obviously it's a one game sample we're talking for the month of June. This Phoenix team is pretty vulnerable right now. They don't really have an offensive threat. They're not the Phoenix that we really knew over the past couple of years, which is fortunate for us. Their defense is still the same. It's still Stenberg. It's still Novo in the net. However, with that said, who knows? Maybe with a little bit of luck, Orange County can sneak 1 or 2 in. Flood might come back and really open up the title gates. I don't know about that, given that he'll have a full week to mesh with the team. I don't know if I can say it's a full 3 points. I'm satisfied with the draw on the road here, even if it is 1-1.
Larry, what are your thoughts on this upcoming match, and what does Orange County need to do to continue or to build off the success from this past weekend?
They need to keep the creativity, keep the creativity that we saw this week. That would be very helpful. Another thing that I think would be incredibly helpful is if Rios Novo gets injured and he doesn't play, because, I mean, listen, this kid's good. He's got skills. And, their backup goalie is Pat Rakowski, and I love Pat to death, but he is their number 2, and this kid's got game. So I think if we can come out of this game, with a point and a 0-0 draw, I think that's a win. I look at that as a win. And there was a message in the chat from Chad. Flood is ineligible to play against Phoenix, which makes perfect sense. Why would you lend a team a guy and then have him come back and play against you 8 days later? So we will not see Flood on the pitch this weekend in Phoenix. So I would just like to see the team keep the creativity, do everything they can, just put the ball in the back of the net and drink a bunch of water, because it's going to be hot as hell in Phoenix.
So maybe Flood can just, again, help the team prepare for this match, provide a little bit of a scouting report.
Sure.
Or just give some ideas of what to expect out of these. Obviously, the coaching staff can watch the matches that Phoenix played. So there's probably not a lot that Flood's going to be able to provide that we don't already have videotape of from their matches this season. But again, it's maybe some of those little things. Hey, go make sure you press against this guy, because this guy might not be as steady with ball at the feet when they're under pressure. Those types of things might become helpful. I'm not saying that that's what needs to happen in this match. Again, I don't even know if that's something that should happen in the locker room with a loaned player. Dylan, your thoughts on this match before we move on?
Yeah. Well, these matches always tend to be blockbusters, and they always tend to end up being fourth. It's always insane. So I think, a 0-0 would probably be fine and good for everybody, and I think you would all be very happy. This is prime USL After Dark territory that we're coming into. This is prime, just two teams slug it out. And I think the biggest thing is just, can the team fight for it? And I think, yes, they can. They certainly showed it. And I think our next guest is a player who's been there and has done that and showed some fight, showed some experience. And hopefully he's ready for us. That would be one. Orange County / Reno 1868 legend, Seth Casiple.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me on.
What's up, Seth? Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. You've been on here numerous times at this point. We've had some great conversations with you, so we appreciate you making your a visit back with us here for this. Let me ask you this before we even get to any of the soccer stuff. One of our big causes for the month of June, playing for Pride, Athlete Ally. I know you're a big supporter of what they do and supporting this type of cause. Share with us how you got involved with this and what this cause means to you.
It first came across my radar probably 2016. We had a representative in our locker room that came and said, hey, this is what we're going to be doing for June. And I was just full on board with just the inclusivity. And I think that bringing these topics into conversation is just healthy. It's just good for everyone to hear different perspectives. And I think it's great.
Appreciate that. Now let's get into the soccer aspect of things. How are you feeling? Are you ready to be a big contributor for the rest part of the season here, and help this team improve off of what was a horrible May? Now we're in June. It looks like, with you back and some other players getting back, are you ready to help contribute to that season, to the season?
Yeah. Totally ready. Think that last week was a good stepping stone. I think that we've had some moments like that in previous years where, proving to ourselves that things can get done any shape or form is good. So I'm excited.
And obviously we don't ask you to participate in our fantasy competition, because that would sort of be a little weird there. But should the participants that chose to not pick you in their roster, are they going to be disappointed at the end of the month that they didn't pick you to provide points for their fantasy?
I sure hope so. Hopefully I can get on the score sheet and contribute there. But I wouldn't blame them if they didn't. I'm definitely not known for that, but hopefully I can play a part in getting us some wins. I think that's on my side. That's what I'm concerned about.
Seth, kind of a question about you, I guess, is how is it kind of coming off of a losing streak, coming off of an injury, and getting thrown into a match? What did you do to prepare, and what do you find to be your role in that situation?
Being injured during stretches like that is always a little interesting. It feels sort of like the outside looking in, and sometimes it's easy to be uncomfortable sharing a perspective because you didn't have any part in it. And then for me personally, it was really, since it was an injury, it was just physically being prepared, talking to Morton, making sure that we're on the same page with what my minutes are going to be and what's expected. And then it's just kind of, it's the same old for me. Bring energy, try and organize people. Put my stamp on the game, I guess, is what I would call it, is just kind of get in there and make sure that we're getting a result and try my best.
Away from you personally, you mentioned just now sharing your perspective, and you mentioned kind of playing for Pride being on your radar in 2016. That was 8 years ago somehow. Have you noticed kind of the way that the game as a whole, or teams, clubs, playing staff, has that kind of shifted? Has it been more open? Like, you're one of the more senior players in the USL. You're one of the more senior players at Orange County. What changes, hopefully positive, have you seen in the last 8 years?
I think, I was definitely already among a population that was accepting and was ready to talk about. I mean, a majority, especially in 2016, it was kind of mainly homosexuality, but then now we've expanded to include all kinds of different people. And so we really just saw more openness, more comfortability around these topics when June comes around. And I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see people understanding that people are different, and it makes them no worse. It makes them, it's great to see kind of like an equality, I guess. And sometimes that's even seen with just things being normal, which I think is good. Not necessarily being weird around stuff. So I think, I've seen a positive impact for sure, and it just being more of the norm.
Seth, it's always an absolute joy having you here. You are one of our favorite people on this team, and we love when you come on this show.
Thank you.
Last time you were on, we kind of teased you a little bit about being the one of the senior fellas on the team by way of age. But before the injury to start the season, and I even mentioned it to you after one of the games, I said, you are playing as good as you have ever played, if not better than any other time you've played during your Orange County Soccer Club tenure. Is there anything that you could attribute the start to your season to? New diet, yoga, new training regime. What was going on, man? You looked phenomenal.
Nothing new. Actually, well, okay. I guess the one thing that did change was that I didn't lift as many weights. I think
really?
That was interesting. Yeah, just getting older. I've spent saying like in the off season, ours is pretty long, but I was actually kind of able to go on some trips and spend time just kind of not preparing. Whereas in the past, I was maybe more willing to sacrifice a little bit some of that off time to really try and make sure that I was ready. And after 10 years, you kind of get an idea of what you're going to need to look like when you come in. And so I think mentally I was in a better place. So maybe that's what helped.
Awesome. And that actually that leads perfectly into my my other question. Mentally, how hard is it to be on the bench? Or actually, I'm going to rephrase that. Not even be in the 18 because of injuries during a month like May, where the team is just struggling so mightily. How do you keep a positive mindset during times like that?
I mean, I'll be honest, when you're not involved in it, you're not as negative. You want to, you feel for the group and you want to be part of the team. You don't want to be in those ruts, but it really is always difficult when you're on the outside looking in to empathize with what's going on sometimes. and so you kind of just want to continue to stay positive. It's also a little easier when you don't have performances that maybe you're unhappy with to come in that next week and be more upbeat and be encouraging, continue that positive talk. So I think that's the role that I tried to take on, is just try to make sure to encourage what we want to see out of our group, and try to speak up more often for things that we don't like. Just try and build those habits. It's stone by stone the way that success happens. It's certainly not something you just flip like a switch.
Awesome, Seth. Welcome back. So my first question, I'm going to focus a little bit on playing for pride, since that is kind of something we've done the past couple of years. My first question about that is, do the players know what ranks they are, what 1 through 5 they're given as a value? Do they talk about it, and do they agree with the rankings? Because this is I'm the one who does the rankings, and I want to know, do the players judge me for it?
I think you'll be happy to know that they do not know. Excuse me. A couple of guys do that have been on the podcast for sure, but I don't think that I haven't heard it as a subject come up for some ribbing anyway.
Awesome. And I ranked you a 2 out of 5, a $2 player. Is that fair? Is that high? Is that low? I know you said earlier that you might not want to be on people's teams because you don't get on the score sheet.
Well, I'll just say I want to be on people's teams. Please put me on as many teams as possible. That sounds great. But I'd say that's fair. I'd say that's fair. My role in the group is certainly not focused on going out of my, really trying to go out of my way to produce goals and assists and stuff. I would love to get involved. I'm trying to spend the energy to do that, but definitely my role is certainly going to be more of an organizational structure side.
Yeah, and I do want you to know that I do kind of base those rankings off of availability, and given that you weren't really available for a lot of the month of May, unfortunately, I had to deduct you from a 3 to a 2.
I appreciate you letting me know.
Yeah. So moving on
so
to the actual game. Oh, I love you too, Seth. I miss you. Moving on towards the actual game side. One of the questions I do ask, especially the younger players, is who do you model your game after? But given that you are one of the older players, I want to ask you, how do you model your game after those who are younger than you, and what do you do to model for those younger players?
Yeah, totally. I think what I definitely pick up the most from the younger guys is their energy. Trying to match a 17-year-old kid in training is a task every day. So it takes a lot of coffee. But so I'm just trying to make sure that I am. There's kind of not tricks, but like you can mentally be a lot quicker than your body is, and it makes you seem pretty fast. And so for me, it's just trying to stay focused, next one, react in the proper ways, make sure that I stay as even keel as possible to make good decisions. And I usually come out on top in those games. But and then kind of the same way that I model that for the younger guys is trying to get them to understand, what kind of standards are needed in professional soccer, and how they can make it easier for themselves, both like physically and mentally. It's just there's all kinds of little nuances about trying to get through a week and still stay fresh for Saturday while still improving, while gaining fitness. Like they take a little bit of stuff in their own bottles, and then to be able to put that all together into consistency and production is really hard. That's the name of the game. Obviously, if everybody could do it, they would. So that's what I model for the kids.
Awesome. So I got one more question for you. It's a little away from soccer. Obviously, if you couldn't tell with where Ray and Dylan are located, they are currently in one of the best places in the world, Lake Tahoe. Now, at the very beginning. They're in
Wait, hold on really quick, Brad, because that's actually something I wanted to talk to Seth about. Yeah, no, we're currently in Zephyr Cove, which I believe east shore of the Lake Nevada side.
Yes.
But I know Brad came onto the show, and when we talked about where we were, his first mention was the Nevada side is the better side. Now, we all know you have ties to Reno, so obviously the Nevada side is a little closer. But can you share with us what side you prefer and why? California, Nevada side.
Which side? I prefer the Nevada side.
I mean, come on, Ray. You knew the answer was always going to be the Nevada side. Better hiking.
Can we guess why?
Better skiing? I don't know if you're a skier.
I can't ski.
I was gonna say, he's a soccer player. He ain't risking his knees to go out skiing. No way in hell. Can we guess why?
Sorry, we were holding off because we are currently outside in our patio. I'm gonna have to mute quickly. We're right across the street from a fire station, and I think they're heading out right now. So Larry, Brad, you guys make some guesses right now.
Well, he gave the money sign, so I'm gonna get. I mean, obviously Nevada is way cheaper to live in than California, so cheaper.
Brad,
I'm not going to wager another guess because I don't want to gamble. Those odds.
Exactly.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Exactly.
So if it wasn't for the loud sirens blaring, we didn't want to put all of you through that. That was what I was going to say. There is the extracurricular activities such as gambling that are available in the Nevada side of things.
And if you want to take the time now to avoid yourself a Sandra Tonali moment or a Tony moment, just let everybody know that you were hopefully not betting on matches that you were playing.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Which was
very clear.
I was going to mention that when somebody had mentioned the fantasy, like joining the fantasy thing, and I was going to say I definitely could not do that. There's no way I would.
But if you are betting on any matches, make sure you have a translator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make sure you have somebody that you can put all $42 million on.
Absolutely.
We're getting off the rails here with some of these questions now. Look at that with some of these comments.
We got a couple of listener questions for you, Seth. You are the Ox MVP. We all know that from the answers that all of our other guests have given to us.
I was playing some blues today. I'll let you guys know.
Nice. I like that. But Chuck wanted to know which of the next wave youngsters has the best and worst taste in music.
I don't hear what's on their headphones. We have tried to get them, like we'll tell them, hey, just connect to the speaker. Let's hear what you got. I know Ashton likes country, so I resonate with that. I think that's good. Bryce Jameson, he's definitely listening to more rappy hip hop stuff, but I've heard some of his, or sometimes we'll play stuff that he knows, and I like those songs too. But I've never heard what Joey Buckley listens to, so I'm gonna put him in the hot seat and say he's got the worst, because I have no idea what would come out of that Spotify. It could be anything.
So we got a mission for you, Seth. If you will accept this mission, is next time we have you on the show, you got to be able to tell us what is Joey Buckley playing on his Spotify playlist. That's going to be the mission for you, and you can let him know if the podcast guys are making me find this information.
Just you.
Actually. I'll take a peek at the liked songs. We'll see what he's got.
Just tell him that he's a zero value in playing for Pride, and if his Spotify is worse, it's a -1 now.
Poor JB.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Brad, for some reason, puts it at $13 to pick 5 players. And when you think of someone like a Thomas Among at $5, if you're picking him up, you have to probably pick up a couple, not trying to be mean, but Dollar Tree players, right? $1 or $0 players to sort of balance it out. So, I mean, that's what's going on with that, and why Joey's at a 0 per Brad. Brad makes all the monetary values.
What's Owen?
2, I believe.
Ooh, that's a steal. You want to get those set piece stickers.
I can provide you a
list.
These guys. I can provide you a list, and you can go Mean Girls it and
right? He made himself freeze the moment he's going to give them out.
Yeah, I'll put it on the board. Tell guys, this is what they got you.
Just make sure that they know it's Brad. It's none of us. It's Brad.
Hey, I'll take the flack. I am the resident heel here and Las Vegas odds maker.
Well, no, I appreciated Brad's picks because I feel like I got some good steals with a Cameron Dunbar and Ethan Zubak, two players I think are going to break out and have a good month of June. So I appreciate Brad setting the values at 3 for those 2 players because it made it a lot easier for me to pick up some other players onto my roster. So,
Certainly.
Seth, Phoenix coming up. How are you? How is the team feeling heading out to Phoenix this weekend?
Hydrating.
Smart.
That's a good thing to
I
think
think that's
about. Yes.
it's the main thing on guys' minds. But feeling good. Just battled through a good test this weekend. Gonna have to back it up.
I believe in you. All right, we'll get you out of here. We promise. I
have nowhere to go if you guys have more questions.
You were a $15 player in my heart.
Thank you. Gosh, look at that. You only have 13 to spend. And you took out a line of credit.
I would Barcelona. I would pull so many levers to get you into my team.
We'll start at negative 8 points in the table, and we'll fly.
Because I know Seth Casiple will get me at least 8 points. That's all that matters to me.
Steve coming for us.
Seth, a couple more fan questions for you. So from Chuck Eldridge, why'd you pick number 8? I mean, was this luck?
Yeah, I started with number 84 because out of college I was drafted Mr. Irrelevant, number 84 in the MLS draft. So I played that. I played number 84 in Portland for 2 years. And then actually I was 84 in Reno also. And when I got here, they didn't want the number to be that high. And I always fancied myself as kind of like a number 8 position player. And it was available.
Nice. Okay. Another question. Oh, okay. From Chuck again. What's your favorite away venue now that obviously Greater Nevada Field is not one?
Oh, yes. Actually, I've never played away at Greater Nevada Field.
Rest in peace.
My favorite venue. Good question. Probably SAC.
Just really breaking local hearts. And every time you score, I shout, "He's a Rockland native."
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned not lifting a ton of weights, so and I lost it somewhere, something about push-ups from SoCal.
Who on the team can do the most push-ups?
Oh, Andrew Fox is a big chest day guy. Every day is chest day for Andrew, so I'd put my money on him. I think he ripped out like 30 pull-ups or something. It was something stupid. I remember I was at like 11 and I was being encouraged by saying Fox got 30. And then I stopped at 13. I said, Seth got 13. That's okay. We're good. My money would be on Andrew Fox. But Colin's in the gym a lot too. I bet you Colin could do. Ashish just did 40 push-ups the other day.
Was he in trouble?
Yeah, we have like a wheel to spin, and it's just all like fun and games for the locker room. He got push-ups. We
should get Larry out there and have him compete against some of the players in the push-ups and pull-ups category.
Oh yeah,
he'd do good.
Fabulous idea, great idea. Have the old fat guy out there.
I don't know. Does anyone else have any more questions for Seth before we wrap things up?
Trying to join the Marine Corps. That's funny. I don't know. He's just really strong.
Any places in Orange County you want to shout out? Anything you want to tell people? Anything that's on your mind you feel like sharing?
There is a vegan restaurant called Seabirds that's in Costa Mesa that I went to a couple of weeks ago, and it was phenomenal. Super good. Always got to shout out my local carniceria El Fenix in Rancho Santa Margarita. If you're looking for like little barbecue stuff, I go there, get some pollo and carne asada. It's usually pretty affordable.
2 minutes from my house. I love that place.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
No, that's about it. That's good for Orange County. Yeah.
You don't need to have a million answers. You don't need to talk a lot like this guy right here, Dylan, on the show. You can just give a couple of short, sweet answers. Seth, as always, fun conversations with you. We love having you on this show. We look forward to having you on in the future. And who knows, maybe maybe in the far future, we can get you on more often. You can actually start critiquing what's going on in the field a little bit more. And we'd love to hear what your thoughts are and break down stuff. Because
maybe
we act like we're
later.
smart. Yeah, we act like we're smart, but we really aren't that smart about this.
Yeah. No. Everyone's allowed an opinion. They're just like the rear ends,
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Seth Casiple, midfielder for your Orange County Soccer Club. Best of luck, Seth, to you and the team this coming match against Phoenix, and of course the rest of the season. Let's keep moving on up that table and keep adding some points to the standings.
Yeah, let's go Orange County. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Thank you.
He's so relevant.
It's always a fun conversation. Always a fun conversation with Seth.
Legend.
I feel like it's gotten darker as Dylan and I have been sitting out here, so that means we're getting closer to the end of the show. That is how nighttime
works. Yes. The days. That is yes.
But we got to do this because we got to figure out what's going on with the score prediction competition, and we got to make our predictions for this upcoming match. Brad, once again, I hand it off to you to share with us what's going on.
Yeah, I'll be quick this week. Only one change, and that was, I believe it was Michael slipped out of the top 3, replaced with Andy and Kayvon, who both have 27 now. Other than that, Taylor, myself are still in first and second. And it just shows that somehow we at the Orange and Black Soccer Cast know what we're talking about every week. So, come at us.
Well, some of us do.
Hey, all I'm going to say is I think this is the first season where I'm actually doing decent in this prediction game. I'm not obviously up there with Taylor and Brad, but I'm also not at the very bottom of the table with someone like Larry. So, hey, maybe I'm learning a little bit more about the soccer stuff than I used to know. Well, okay. Any other soccer stuff that we want to discuss before we move on to wrap up the show?
We don't.
Did we throw out our predictions?
Score predictions for this match.
Oh, we do need score predictions.
So you first.
Me first?
Yeah.
Hey, it worked last week. It's working this week. 5-0 Orange County.
Okay, 3-2 Orange County. Larry.
1-1.
I was going to say 1-1. Now I'll say 2-2 so that I'm unique.
And obviously, anyone listening or watching live, feel free to share your score predictions. We'll throw them up on the screen as they come up.
Yeah, I saw one shouted out already. They even beat us.
They beat us to it.
Yes, they should probably run the show. Well done, Josh. Right? Well done.
Attaboy,
we're still within our 60-minute limit before we start getting in trouble from producer Andy. So we're good here.
Nope.
We're running fine. Anyone have anything soccer related before we move on to wrap this thing up? This episode up. And y'all would like to wrap up here.
Kylian Mbappe signing with that white club there that wins all those trophies. Good for him.
Yeah, just if you have money, spend it.
I don't think that was news because I think the whole world knew that was happening.
Like 3 years ago.
Well, yes, but it became official today.
Okay, it officially became official. We all knew this
officially became official.
That sort of can fit into this. We're gonna do things a little differently this episode. Before we go into our what did we learn, I want to find out random thoughts from each of you. And you all didn't know this was coming, so you didn't get to prepare for this. Brad, random thought.
It's just a pure, heartfelt, I love seeing the community and all the engagement you guys have had this year with everything that we've done and the team reaching out, giving us a couple prizes to give out this year. Thank you to all of you guys who have signed up for Playing for Pride. It is a very important cause for all of us here at the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
Larry.
I'm going to second that from Brad, and I'm also going to say 34.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
If you know, you know.
Giannis. Go ahead, Dylan.
Oh, thank you. Well, I obviously once upon a time lived in Orange County and have not lived in Orange County for some time now, but to third, I guess, the community shout out. This podcast is one of my favorite things because it reminds me of, being home and being in the County and Lane Coalition and losing my voice every weekend for 34 weeks a year. So, this is a nice little reminder, and I do appreciate us actually doing something. Thanks, everybody, for coming along with doing some good stuff.
Second that as a former Reno guy, 100%.
My random thought is just, yeah, places are awesome to visit. I've never been to Lake Tahoe. I'm in Lake Tahoe. I got to meet up with a friend who was willing to drive up here from where they're living, and yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty nice. It's a neat place. Too bad we're only here for 4 days, but hey, it's fun. It's nice. Visit places. Experience the world. There's a lot more outside of Orange County for those people that are usually just stuck in one little spot.
Ray, what have you learned this episode?
We're going to what did we learn?
Well, yes.
So what did we learn this episode? Well, we learned that not only Brad, but also Seth prefer the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe. For some reason, I it is what it is. But as a Cali born, raised, and always lived person, I'm going to just support my Cali side through and through. What about you, Dylan?
I learned just how annoying you are, I think. Now I know how I guess feel.
What did I do?
Larry,
What did
what'd
I
you learn
do?
this
Oh
week?
my gosh.
I did not know that Seth Casiple was drafted last and that he was the MLS draft Mr. Irrelevant. And you know what? It's a really cool badge of honor to get to wear. I think. I mean, it worked out pretty good for Brock Purdy, so it's working out pretty good for Casiple as well.
Brad, what did you learn in this episode?
Yeah, I mean, I learned that Seth Casiple and I are going to create a heel stable because clearly our opinions, albeit right, are very unpopular. Because I mean, the Nevada side is the better side.
For the record, I third this again. We got to figure out what word that actually is. That's probably my job. But yeah, no, the Nevada side is 100% the correct side of this lake.
Whatever. All I can say is 75% of the time I'm the right one. And in this instance, I'm part of that 75% being correct here. Hey, at this point, I want to thank everyone for participating in the show, including my co-host that's sitting right next to me here, Dylan, and also Brad and Larry, producer Andy, our guest for this show, which was Seth Casiple, and all of y'all that have been paying attention, listening, chatting throughout this episode. We definitely appreciate that. We also appreciate all of our followers on social media or those of you that follow the podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify or elsewhere. Thank you for doing so. Please, whenever you get an opportunity, share and repost anything that we post on social media, like our podcast, like our post. It really helps get our message out there because the more thumbs up, the more likes we get, the more shares we get, the more Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, whoever it is that you're doing this on, are willing to sort of spread our word. So please do so.
Spread our word. Like we're televangelists about Orange County soccer.
If that's the way you look at it, I didn't say it.
Well, we're talking nonsense.
That's the 25%, folks. Thank you, everyone, for paying attention to this episode, listening to us, and having fun with us. We appreciate it. This is, and I'm going to apologize, Producer Andy, because I'm on vacation, and I know we don't have a backup one, but we don't have the correct ending credits, but we're going to play what we have. Thank you so much. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.